Chapter 8. What next? It's been an exhausting time and I've amazed myself by what it has been possible to achieve in just a couple of days. I hope that you've enjoyed the ride and that it's encouraged you to set 2 days aside yourself to give your own 48-hour startup project a shot. Starting from just a blank page, I've been able to bring Awesome Oats into the world, a new brand with an online outlet and a retail customer that I think has the potential to one day become something more than just a homemade kitchen table business. If I do decide that I want to make a proper business out of my idea, there's a number of things that I'll need to get in place. Although I wanted this book to be all about the first 48 hours of starting a business, I figured I'd be doing you a disservice if I simply waved you goodbye at this junction. The journey you will go on from day 3 onwards is fraught with challenges and difficulty. Going from product to profitable business is not an easy road, but there are a few things I have learned along the way that I think will help you. Just like for Awesome Oats, when you take your business on its next steps, there are some things that you absolutely have to do and some that are up to you. As well as setting up a legal company with an address and a bank account, you may need to think about possible funding sources for future growth as well as for hiring a team to join you on your adventure. I don't want to fill this book with the boring nitty-gritty of business administration. There are plenty of books you can buy on that. But in this chapter, I'll give you a few pointers on how to spend the minimum amount of time on this boring stuff, so that you can spend more time on the fun stuff. With Awesome Oats, if I decide to move production beyond the kitchen table, I'll need to find a manufacturing partner to produce my recipes on a big scale. Once the number of orders from my online store gets significant enough, it won't be possible for me to pack each order by hand and take it to the post office on foot anymore. I'll need to find a pick and pack fulfillment company to send my orders out for me. And, who knows, one day I may even decide to try exporting my products or setting up a charitable project to give something back to the community. Registering a company. It is possible that you can start trading without the formality of setting up a limited, incorporated, company and instead leave that task for later. You may decide just to run your business as a sole trader for a while, to see if it takes off, in which case, you just have to let the tax authorities know and pay tax on whatever money you make, as part of your usual tax return. However, if your business turns out to be a success, it will be most tax efficient and safest from a liability standpoint if you register as a limited company. You can actually do this in a matter of minutes by using online company formation agents, and it shouldn't cost more than £20 or £30. Opening a bank account. In theory, at least just to get things started, you can run your business out of your personal bank account, just so long as you keep good records of all of the money that is coming in and out of your business. It is best if you can open a business bank account as soon as possible and have all of your company's finances running through it. Unfortunately, many banks are pretty useless and this step will likely take a number of days to complete. Shop around, as some banks will offer you a free account for 12 months to get you to sign up, which will save you a bit of money in the early days of your business. Set up a mailing address. There is absolutely nothing wrong with running your business out of your home, and the chances are that is exactly what you will do. If you are concerned about your privacy, you may decide to set up a PO box address. These days, you're unlikely to get all that much mail, so you may decide to do away with having a physical address at all. You can choose to set up a virtual address, which could be on a prestigious street like Pall Mall in London or Madison Avenue in New York. How this works is that all of your mail will be sent to a mailbox on that address and then forwarded to your home address when you want it, creating the impression that your company isn't really being run from your bedroom. Some services offer you the option of having your mail opened, scanned, and emailed to you for a small fee. This is really cool because it means you can avoid missing any important letters even when you're out of the country. Government grants. One of the most frequent questions I get from people thinking of starting their own business is, how can I get the government to help me? I'll start by saying that if you think anyone other than you is going to start your business, you're really thinking about entrepreneurship in the wrong way. If you come into this process thinking that it's someone else's job to fund your idea or help you find staff or anything else, then you're unlikely to succeed. It's entirely down to you to make your business a success, and any other help or financial support you manage to pick up along the way should be viewed as a bonus. It's not the government's job to start your business for you, and it's certainly not something you should suppose them to be any good at. So don't expect them to solve your problems for you. It's very easy to spend an enormous amount of time trying to access government grants and other forms of support for starting your business. They usually come with the need to write an elaborate business plan and attend all kinds of meetings. In my experience, while very well intentioned, a lot of these schemes are going to teach you considerably less than just rolling up your sleeves and giving your idea a shot. Having said that, you may well be eligible for funding for your idea, and I'd be crazy to tell you anything other than to accept it with both hands. There are some online grant search engines that you can check out to find what funding sources might be relevant for you. It's also possible to find business plan templates and grant application templates online to save you creating the necessary documents completely from scratch. If you decide to go down this route, you'll come across a lot of people who want to tell you how to run your business, people who've never actually started a business themselves but who are suddenly an expert. Just be aware of this fact. And take everyone's kind advice with a pinch of salt. You should know that the best way to learn what you need to do is to spend time not with supposed experts, but with your potential customers, understanding how you can improve your product. Crowdfunding. A lot of businesses, including our own, have used crowdfunding with great success, and this new type of finance really is an incredible opportunity for you as a startup entrepreneur. It used to be the case that the only ways for you to raise money were from friends and family or from a bank or angel investor. But now, you can raise funds from anyone, your customers, your community, and the public at large. What's exciting about crowdfunding is that not only can you use it to raise much needed finance to scale up your concept, but you can build an army of supporters around your cause. One of the most successful crowdfunding stories comes from another set of Scottish entrepreneurs, BrewDog. You may well have come across their high-flavor, high-attitude punk beers. Their rise to success has been meteoric. It's a success that has in large part been down to their ability to build a cult following around their brand, with the help of a number of stunts. In their early days, if you got their logo tattooed onto your body, they'd reward you with free drinks in their bars. They also produced the world's highest alcohol beer. I think it was about 30% alcohol. But then a little German brewery rose to the challenge and brewed an even stronger beer, stealing their title from them. So then BrewDog declared war on Germany, which is kinda controversial, right? In the end they brewed a beer that was about 50% alcohol, packaged it inside taxidermy squirrels, and sold it for around £500 a bottle. They were all over CNN and Sky News, and because of this and all kinds of other harebrained publicity stunts, not to mention great products, they've built a huge base of fans around their brand. One thing they did that I thought was really smart was to be one of the first companies to use crowdfunding in a big way. Over the past few years they've raised many millions of pounds to build a new brewery in Scotland and even one in America. But aside from being able to fund an incredibly aggressive expansion that has seen their sales grow to over £50 million, they've turned tens of thousands of their fans into an army of super fans. Every bar they go into, they order BrewDog beer. And if the bar doesn't stock it, they ask why. They tell their friends about the brand and send in ideas for new bars and new beers to the company. Partly inspired by BrewDog's experience, we have run several of our own crowdfunding campaigns, raising around £1 million in total. Much needed funds that have helped us to grow significantly faster than we could have done otherwise. Above all, we now have this community of people around our brand who bring more to the table than just money. Between them, our shareholders have a lot of experience and contacts that we have been able to tap into. If you're sold on using this new funding model to jumpstart your company's growth, there are a few things we have learned that will hopefully help you to run a successful campaign. First, it's all about the video. You need to be able to create a compelling clip that helps to get potential investors excited about your project. It needs to convey your enthusiasm. Anyone watching it needs to be able to trust that you are the person to make this idea happen. Your video is there to get people enthused about your idea, enough so that they want to download your business plan and financial projections to learn more about your project. In those documents, you want to include testimonials from experts as well as examples of your own experience and success to date. People want to know that the market you are operating in is big enough for you actually to build a substantial business within it. These documents and your video can be uploaded quite easily to one of the popular crowdfunding platforms. Many countries now have their own equivalents, but in the UK the most popular are Crowdcube, Seedrs and Angel's Den. These platforms charge a small fee, usually around 5% of the total that you raise. And as well as hosting your video, they'll promote your pitch to their fairly extensive networks. In doing this, they'll hopefully be able to attract enthusiastic strangers to invest in your business. But as well as attracting strangers from the crowd, the success of your pitch will rely on your ability to bring your own network to the party. Your friends, family, customers, and social network all need to be aware of your funding drive. One great way of doing this is to download all of the email addresses of your LinkedIn contacts and send them a link to your crowdfunding page, with your business plan attached. Assuming your fundraising is a success, after your campaign ends you should make an effort to keep your new shareholders up to date with developments in the company. Not only will they hopefully be able to give you some useful input, but they will also be much more likely to invest in a future funding round if you've kept them excited about your project along the way. Homemade products into a few stores, they decided to use crowdfunding to help scale up their production. In many ways, they saw it as the natural progression for their business. They knew that at some point they'd need to raise a lot of money to set up their own production and didn't want to give away too much control of the business. They didn't want to go on Dragon's Den, get kicked around on TV for entertainment and end up giving away 30 or 40% of their company. A bank, though, really wouldn't touch such a small business. It's just not what they do. They figured that crowdfunding would be perfect for a food business like theirs. It's a product that anyone can understand. They had also read about great incentives for investors such as the Enterprise Investment Scheme in the UK, where investors get 30 to 50% of their investment back as a tax credit, helping to limit their potential risk. It seemed that convincing investors to come on board wouldn't be too much of a challenge. In the end, their crowdfunding campaign was indeed a huge success, and they found themselves with more than 200 different investors on board. Since the campaign has ended, they keep their crowd up to date with an email every 3 or 4 months. They take the opportunity to invite their investors to suggest, maybe, a cafe in their area that they think could sell the products. One of the bigger investors also sits on their board, which has helped to bring some experience to the team. Overall, crowdfunding has been nothing but a positive experience for Lickalix. Their tips for anyone wanting to do the same are pretty straightforward. A good video is really important. If I recommend anything, don't use one of those animations where you don't personally appear. It's really important that people actually see you and that your passion shines through. Finding teammates. As well as potentially needing to find investors or other funding sources for your business idea, there's a good chance that you will need to hire some employees to help you as your business grows. It can be a huge challenge to attract the right people and to keep them motivated, but if you can do it well, then it is ultimately this human force that will make your business succeed. In a world where USP is dead, and your product most likely isn't that much different to those of your competitors, one of the things you can do is create a unique culture. By forming a team that is more passionate, more hardworking, and more entrepreneurial than the other companies in your sector, you can increase your chances of winning the race. What I have found in all of our businesses is that by working on ideas that excite us and by creating products that we honestly would buy ourselves, attracting other people to join us is a whole lot easier than it otherwise might have been. People love working in businesses that have a soul, and typically do a great job when they're selling a product that they believe in. When it comes to hiring people to join our businesses, we have never been fans of looking for the most qualified, best experienced person out there. Sure, it's important that the person we are hiring has some experience in the field in which we want them to work. But what always counts more to us than anything is that they're passionate about our brand and believe in what we're trying to do. If they're enthusiastic and smart, they'll be able to pick up the necessary knowledge and skills along the way. In the early days, you may not have a huge amount of money to build a team, but you still need an extra pair of hands. Working with you on growing your business could well be a valuable experience for an intern, giving them a chance to learn about your industry by getting involved in your business. There are many sites, such as Internships and Inspiring Interns, where you can easily post an ad for your company and invite enthusiastic young interns to apply to join you. If what you're looking for is someone with a bit more experience, I personally favor a more direct approach. The chances are that your ideal candidate is already employed, doing the same role that you are looking to fill but at another company. If you draw up a list of the companies in your area where such a candidate might be working, it becomes very easy to search for the right people on LinkedIn. Just enter the job title and filter by your city and the companies you think could be a good fit. There's a pretty good chance that your message will be warmly received. A lot of people are tired of their jobs and open to trying something new. And, what's more, if you're offering them a way to escape corporate life to join the exciting world of startups, you could have plenty of excellent applicants to choose from. Your only challenge will be offering a competitive salary, especially if you're trying to convince them to leave a well-paid job in a big company. One way that you might choose to overcome this is by offering equity or share options in your company. I'm a huge fan of making sure that your team benefit from the success of the company. It helps them to stay aligned with the overall mission and also creates a much more loyal team. Finding people to join you in the first place is extremely hard, so giving them equity is one of the best ways of preventing them from leaving you. Exporting. A lot of people will set out with grand ambitions for selling their products all over the world. It's only natural that as entrepreneurs we have these kind of dreams. Incredibly, barriers to selling your product across borders have all but disappeared. If you're running a purely online business, there's no reason why some of your first orders shouldn't come from outside of your own country. If you are selling a physical product, however, my advice would be to focus on markets closer to home. For most businesses, the place that your business is most likely to succeed in is your own country, so that's where you should put your attention in the early days. If you can't make your product work at home, it's even less likely to succeed when you try selling in another country, with the added complexities of different currencies, languages, and regulations. Despite the challenges of selling overseas, it can be enormously rewarding doing so. With SuperJam, seeing our products on the shelves of stores in countries as far away from home as Japan and Australia has been one of the truly proudest aspects of building our business. Not only have I had the pleasure of getting to visit some pretty far-flung places, it has also brought large volumes of sales into the company. The country that we have had the most success in has been South Korea, where we have been selling since 2014, with the help of a local partner. Before we started exporting our products there, I didn't really know a huge amount about the country. Safe to say, I didn't have any explicit plans to sell our products there. My last book, Super Business, was translated into a few languages, Korean being one of them. A couple of Korean entrepreneurs, David Min and Han Byul-won, read my book and thought, Eureka! They figured that SuperJam could really work in their market and got in touch to ask if they could sell our products there. Sure, I said, since I'm always happy to give new ideas a shot. They ordered 200 jars, then 2,000, then 20,000, and now we have sold many hundreds of thousands of jars of SuperJam in the country. Similarly, another entrepreneur, Jeanette Sorensen, in Denmark, heard about SuperJam back when we first started and, out of a huge love of the brand, has helped us to gain distribution there, acting as our brand manager. What I've learned from the experience is that selling in another country is just like starting a business all over again. You need to start small. Just get your products into 1 or 2 stores, then grow from there. Don't make elaborate plans and procrastinate, just go there, get your product there and find your first customers. There are all kinds of people who will want to help you on the road to exporting your products, government agencies, consultants, and numerous other experts. It can be a total minefield of well-intentioned people trying to help you join up the dots. But, just as with starting a business in the first place, I am a fan of taking action rather than talking about it. The world is unbelievably small. For £600, $1,000, you can go just about anywhere in the world and get your feet on the ground. Call it your holiday. Stay with a local family for £30, $50, a night with Airbnb and learn everything you need to know about your target consumers. Ask them what they think of your business and how they feel you should get started in their country. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to make connections by visiting meetups and other events for entrepreneurs. The global entrepreneurial family is a small one, and everywhere I've been I've had no trouble finding people who can help me get my brand established there. In my experience, whether you physically go to the country or just try making contact online, the most important person for you to find is a local partner. They might be an entrepreneur like my partners in South Korea, or they might be a company. You need to find someone who believes in your brand as much as you do, someone who you can trust with your baby. And when you do hand it over to them, it's important that you give them the freedom to customize your packaging, website and marketing to appeal to their own market. Every country is different and you'll discover particular cultural quirks about each along the way, which is part of the fun. Some countries are easier to enter than others. Quite recently, we started selling our products in Japan, and I really wanted to organize a meeting with the major TV home shopping channel there. Despite trying my best to get in touch, I just couldn't get through to the relevant buyer. In the end, I figured there was only one thing for it. I went to their office on my next visit to Tokyo, uninvited. I told the receptionist my name and that I had a meeting with the food buyer. A few moments later she asked me to confirm my name. "No, I'm sorry," she said, "it doesn't look like you have a meeting." After explaining that I'd flown all the way from London and that there really must have been some kind of mix-up, the receptionist conceded and called the food buyer. A few minutes later, I had my opportunity. Thanks to a morning spent practicing in front of the mirror, I very politely introduced myself and my company in Japanese, before exchanging business cards with a slightly confused-looking food buyer. Then I pitched my products to her before showing her a Japanese TV dramatization about my life story on YouTube. When I told her about the success we have had on other TV home shopping channels around the world, she apologized for the mix-up with the meeting and promised that they'd look into launching our products on their channel. She thanked me for making the trip, and within days we were negotiating pricing and supply details. I guess what I'm trying to say is that selling your products in another country is not that much different to selling them in your own country. You just need to go there, find people you can trust, and in all likelihood put yourself out of your comfort zone a bit further than you usually would. Social mission. For me, one of the really exciting things about starting your own business is that it can be whatever you want it to be. For some people, starting a business is about getting rich, and that's fine. But for me, what's way more exciting is that you can not only use your business to make a living out of something you love, but also use it as a way to bring about changes in the world that you feel strongly about. Ever since I was in my early teens, I was inspired by the stories of entrepreneurs such as Anita Roddick, of The Body Shop. She proved that it is perfectly possible to build a hugely successful business without compromising on your personal values. She was also able to show that business can be a form of protest. You can use your packaging and advertising to shout about issues you feel strongly about and use your profits to fund causes close to your heart. The most amazing feeling of my whole journey was the day I was able to go into a Waitrose supermarket and see Super Jam sitting there on the shelves for the first time. It was a moment I had been working towards for years, and it had finally come true. I still enjoy going into supermarket stores, especially in foreign countries, and seeing something that I created being put into people's shopping baskets. I love the feeling that millions of people have enjoyed my product. To me, that is success. But what also feels like success is that we have been able to invest some of the profits we have made into setting up a charity. And to give you a bit of background, when my grandmother originally made jam, she'd make jam and scones and visit all of the elderly people in her area, who were maybe living alone or in care homes. She'd drag my little brother, Connor, and me along with her at the weekends. He'd play his guitar and I'd tell some stories. As kids we obviously had no idea why our gran was doing this, but as I grew up I realized that it was something she felt strongly about. And so, when Super Jam took off, I thought it would be nice to do something like that on a grand scale. We started running completely free tea parties for elderly people in care homes, hospitals, and community centers, originally just in Scotland but now all over the UK. Over the past couple of years we've had many hundreds of parties. The biggest ones have had as many as 500 grands and granddads at them, so thousands of people have come along and hopefully had a great time. And they've not just been going on in this country. We've had a few in Australia and South Korea, and even one or two in America, although in America we don't call them tea parties. It turns out that it means something different over there. More recently, the big idea for our tea parties has been to open them up more widely, by making it easy for anyone, anywhere, to volunteer to set one up in their own community. We have a website, superjamteaparties.com, where people can apply online. We send them, of course, some jam, but perhaps more importantly a little money that they can use to hire a venue, hire a band and put on a really great afternoon. When I go along to a Super Jam tea party and see hundreds of older people having a nice afternoon, knowing that I was a part of making that happen, it gives me a great feeling. It's also wonderful for everyone who works with me to feel that they are part of something that has a lot more meaning than just making money, something that is hopefully doing some good. With these experiences in mind, I wanted to share with you the thought of creating a social mission for your venture. Not just because it's a nice thing to do, but also because it makes good business sense. Your customers will love you for it. People want to buy from brands that stand for something, that make a difference and that help to create a better world. What your social mission should be is entirely up to you. It needs to be something that you care about. It's all the better if it relates to your products or is something that your customers are likely to care about too. There are many ways that you could set it up. Perhaps by establishing an entire project, doing some pro bono work for a charity or even donating a percentage of your profits to a good cause. You may want to adopt a buy one, donate one policy, where for every product you sell, you'll contribute money or product towards your chosen cause. Having a social mission will give you something unique to shout about in your marketing and, if it's tied to what your business does, it can help to strengthen your message. By supporting an issue that is close to your heart, you will be helping to make your company become more human, more real, and much more appealing for people to support. For me, it is inspiring to imagine that what may well begin as a 2-day experiment, with a bit of love, hard work, and support from the right people can grow into something amazing. Something that changes your life. I know that my projects certainly have changed mine. Something that gives you a career and, perhaps most inspiring of all, a chance to give something back to your community. Chapter 9. Resources, links, tools, places to go, things to read. Throughout the 48-hour startup project, I have taken advantage of all kinds of tools that have made it possible to create a business at high speed. There are also lots of tools that we use every day in our businesses to look for new ideas, to communicate with our customers and to collaborate as a team. Here is a list of all of the resources I have mentioned in the book, along with some other tools that I think you will find useful in running your own startup. Links to all of these sites, as well as a variety of other resources, are available at 48hourstartup.org. I'd love you to visit the site as your next port of call. I have been conducting interviews with all kinds of successful and startup entrepreneurs, asking them to share their tips and tricks, lessons learned, and advice for anyone on their entrepreneurial journey. The 48-Hour Startup podcast features expanded conversations with some of the entrepreneurs I have mentioned in this book, along with several others. as well as continuing to record interviews with some of my favorite entrepreneurs. I'll be updating the blog with stories from you, the readers of 48 Hour Startup. I want to let the community know about the projects you have started. So please, don't let this be the end of our conversation. I'd love to hear how you get on. Startup Accelerators. Y Combinator, Wera, Seedcamp, Techstars, Longbox, Dream IT Ventures, Seed Rocket, Alpha Lab, Butup Labs. Capital Factory, 500 Startups, Startup Bootcamp. Idea Inspiration. The Next Web, Betalist, TechCrunch, Fast Company, Wired, Springwise, Trend Spotting, PSFK, Cool Hunting. Startups.co.uk. Design Inspiration. The Dial-In, Lovely Package, Behance, Dribbble, Designspiration. Crowdfunding. AngelList, Global, Kickstarter, Global, Indiegogo, Global, Crowdcube, UK, SEEDRS, UK, Angels Den, UK. Domain name registration. Bust a name, enter words related to your idea, and this will generate possible combinations of domains that are available to register. Name station, create a competition for the crowd to come up with your name. GoDaddy, the largest domain registration site. Sido, the largest domain name auction site. Intellectual property info. IPO.gov.uk, USPTA.gov, check government registered IP and register your trademarks and patents. Fonts. Fontfabric.com, LostEPE.com, MyFonts.com, YouWorkForThem.com. Freelancer marketplaces. Upwork, Juno, Freelancer, People Per Hour. Craft marketplaces. ETSE.com, not on the high street. On-demand merchandise productions Zazzle, Cafe Press, Spreadshirt, Everpress, Merchify, Supreme Creations. Finding Chinese manufacturers. Alibaba.com, the largest listing site of third-party manufacturers in the world. Self-publishing. Blurb, Amazon Crete eSpace. Designing and building your own website Shopify, Squarespace, Strikingly, drag-and-drop website building sites. ThemeForest, pre-designed website templates. Balsamic mockups, create a quick layout of what you want your site to look like. Payment processors. PayPal, Stripe, GoCardless. Subscription payment apps. Chargeify, Spreedly. Offline payments. Square, iZettle. Hiring interns. Internships, inspiring interns. Stock photography. Shutterstock, Alamy, iStock Photo, Dreams Time. Ask for advice. Clarity.fm, pay a small fee to talk to an expert over the phone. Organize your team. Asana, Remember the Milk, Basecamp, Trello, Calendly, Evernote, Join.me, Slack. Manage social media. Hootsuite, Scoop.it, Content Marketer, Buffer, IFT, BuzzSumo, Narrow. Analytics. HubSpot, Moz, Brand24, Optimizely, SumoMe, Google Trends, Google Analytics, Rank Tracker. Marketing tools. SurveyMonkey, MailChimp, Wufoo, SendGrid. Customer service tools. Zendesk, Intercom, Help.com, Desk.com, GetSatisfaction. Productivity tools. RescueTime, Toggle, Pocket, Google Drive, Dropbox. Accounting, finance, and legal tools. Exact, cloud accounting software, Xero, Mint, Expensify, Wave, Yodlee, Bodetree, Bench. Terms feed, create your TNCS in minutes. 99 Designs. Create a logo design competition. Co-Founders Lab. Find a co-founder for your startup. Recommended reading. These are just a few of the books that have helped me on my journey as an entrepreneur, as well as the titles written by entrepreneurs I have mentioned throughout the book. Free, Chris Anderson. Ben and Jerry's Double Dip, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield. 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss. Delivering Happiness, Tony C. The Laws of Simplicity, John Maeda. Confessions of an Advertising Man, David Ogilvy. Start with Why, Simon Sinek. Lean Startup, Eric Ries. Business as Unusual, Anita Roddick. Smart Cuts, Shane Snow. Business for Punks, James Watt.